I felt better, but don't really matter. It's gotta get it done. They're really good all across the board. They fly to the ball. They're disruptive at every position. They're well coached. So we have a task in front of us. We have a really good challenge, really big challenge in front of us.
All right, so look, last week against the Giants, we had all these conversations. Oh, will the shoulder, will the shoulder? The shoulder didn't seem to be any factor in that game, but that was a very one-sided game. Do we expect the shoulder to have an impact on this, which we expect to be much more competitive?
I feel like it would be unfair to say yes, because the Eagles and Jalen Hurts have shown us the ability to work around it, right? So they didn't, early in the game, he threw touchdown passes. He looked fine. His shoulder looked fine. And then they got up big, and they didn't really have to ask much of him the rest of the game. So would it hold up over the course of a game if they do have to ask more of him than they did against the Giants? That's a fair question. But the Eagles and Jalen Hurts have shown us the ability to manage this. That's what they're doing. They're managing it. He is hurt. He is injured. His shoulder is bothering him. He admits that. The question is how much it affects them. So far, it hasn't affected them enough to matter.
In the meantime, he's going up against a guy who might be, right now, the best defensive player in the sport, and that is Nick Bosa. And so you might say to yourself, that's trouble. But Rob Ninkovich is going to show you how it is actually going directly at Bosa that is the right strategy for Philly.
Yeah, I mean, Bosa's going to have a huge game. He's going to have to be the MVP, defensive MVP. I have a tape. I'm going to just show you two clips. And this is Bosa on the edge against an option play, RPO play. You see, he has the mesh here and this vision. These plays are tough because your vision is being hindered here with the tight end flashing back, and he lets Dak get on the edge for a big game. And now this one, we know he's a pass rusher. He loves to get up the field. Well, guess what? You have to stop the run too. So he gets up the field, big hole there to run in, and literally he's hitting himself on the head on this play because he knows, man, this one is on me. I had to set an edge here. I got up the field too high, and that was where the lane was. So it's going to be a big game for Bosa. The edge defenders for the 49ers, they have to be disciplined. They have to know their assignment. They got to play fast. They got to stop the run first before they can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
I just love these type of matchups. Listen, I think Bosa is going to be very important, but the most important person is Armstead. Because the war daddy that they have and the person that makes this entire team go is Kelsey. And this one I love when you match superstars against superstars. Because you got to say, listen, for us to win, you challenge Armstead in the meeting, in front of everybody. If we're going to be successful, it's because you're going to destroy Armstead. We used to put that on Haloti Ngata all the time. Listen, we know that Ray gets all the clippings, but if we're going to be successful, you have to be dominant.
Yeah.
And if he can dominate Kelsey, that's like taking the soul. Like, that's the soul. That's the heartbeat of that offense. It's not Jalen Hurts. The guy that makes all the calls and gets him the right protections is Kelsey. And if you can destroy that war daddy, then it's going to be easy pickings for everybody else behind.
To be clear, he's the center, Jason Kelsey. He is Travis's brother, for those of you who don't know.
Did I say Travis?
And he has, no, you said, I'm saying, just to make sure everyone knows who we're talking about.
I got CTE just comes out of nowhere.
He's just not as well known. You might remember him from the Super Bowl celebration where he had the funny outfit and was yelling and screaming. But the point that you're making is, I'm looking at the edges, because if Jalen Hurts gets out there and starts to run, that's the question. Look, is A.J. Brown dangerous? Devontae Smith? Absolutely. But the reason the Eagles kill you is if you take everything else away, the quarterback can get out and beat you with his legs. Can he do that in this game?
That's the beauty of it. I mean, you talk about the game plan. The game plan has to be tight because you cannot slow a player like Bosa down. You can't have him thinking, I'm a mesh point. This ain't college. This ain't the old Tommy Frazier days.
Right.
I ain't trying to play the mesh. No, I need to say, okay, listen, you just go like if they want to expose Hurts and he putting it in the belly, he does not have any protection. You take his head off and you get your money's worth. And if it costs you 15 early in the game, who cares? We'll make it up. But then we will take that element away.
So you're saying hit Hurts hard, and the issue is the shoulder. So we were talking last week about landing on him, right? That's what you want, is you want to land on him with your weight.
Green, it ain't about the shoulder. It's about getting the best shot. I ain't talking about no body part. Everything is weak. He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
I understand he's a power lifter. I don't care. I'm a DN. I do this for a living. I'm in the hurt business.
Put a ribbon on the Eagles for me.
How am I going to do any better than that?
No, how much better can be done?
I think that's the key, is can they be varied and multiple on offense to an extent that the Cowboys were not against the 49ers, especially once they lost Pollard. If the Eagles are full strength, they're the toughest test that Niners defense has faced in a while.
We'll do the picks on the game game a little later. When you look at the offensive weapons on both sides of this game, and he just made the point as we were coming out of the break, the Eagles have all of this. They're so loaded, and they have 2 first-round picks as a reminder
not fair.
in the upcoming draft. This could be the beginning of something very special in
3-year window.
Meanwhile, in Kansas City, obviously, all eyes are on Patrick and the ankle. He walked out to address the media yesterday. Never have we studied more closely a guy walking to and from a podium. Didn't see any limp there. We saw a little bit of him at practice. No obvious sign of a limp. Not wearing a walking boot. Here was Mahomes on the injury as he prepares for a Cincinnati team that has had his number.
I'm doing good, AFC Championship week, ready to go.
How's the ankle?
It's doing good, I've had a few days of treatment, a few days of rehab, but it's feeling good so far. I'm out to find ways to be able to push off and be able to still make the throws the right way. But I'll push it a little bit today and then the next day and then the next day again and see what I can do that not re-aggravate the injury, obviously, but to push it to see what I'll be able to do on Sunday.
You hear him talking about pushing off, meaning being able to get all his weight on that back foot so he can throw with as well as he generally does. Not even talking yet about his mobility and ability to run and all that kind of stuff. What are they saying?
I just got a laugh out of his name being on his sweatshirt, like anybody would wonder.
Right, name tag.
Anyway, sorry. Yes, I think he's being fairly honest, right? Like it could affect me pushing off. My understanding is they felt really good about the way the ankle felt early in the week, right? Like he responded to rest and treatment. And then he gets on the practice field yesterday, so that's the next step. How does it react to whatever work he did on the practice field? By the time they get to Sunday, the Chiefs coaching staff will have a sense of how limited he is and how they have to alter their game planning and their play calling as a result of that. They're still in the information gathering stage. Today's an important day to see how he feels after moving around on the practice field yesterday.
So there's 2 elements, it seems to me, of the ankle. And let's try and allow those of you who are football fans here and getting ready to watch the game to visualize this. Does he have the ability to plant on that back foot and come through the ball and throw? And then can he do all the other stuff that he usually does that kills you? He doesn't run quite like Jalen Hurts does, but boy, he moves around, he scrambles, he extends plays. We've seen him in the playoffs historically run with the football a lot more. So it feels to me like there's 2 elements of this ankle injury, Bart.
Here's why I love this show, because I'm going to take you behind the curtain.
Go.
And the reality of it is I need to know 2 things if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. One, they'll never know, right? Did he take the shot when he went back in the first game? And this is why it's important.
By the shot, you mean something to numb it up?
The pain shot,
Pain-killing
right?
shot.
Because here's the reality of it. When you get the pain shot, the first week, it's effective. The second week is not as effective. So I'll be paying attention to see how he's moving because it's only going to be numbing and feel okay for the first half. So the second half is when I really want to put him on a move because that's when all the pain shot wears off because you can't get 2 of them, right? So now I'm saying, okay, now I'm going to put pressure on the inside. I'm going to give up my edges to see if he takes the cheese and takes that bait to run that way and see if he can throw effectively on the move. Because some of his greatest throws has been on the run with his feet not even on the ground.
Right.
So I'm going to test that early. I'm going to see how that shot's feeling. I'm going to hold all my exotic blitzes and all that stuff to the second half once that leg starts coming back to life.
That's the stuff that makes Patrick Mahomes the most dynamic quarterback maybe that we've ever seen, is his ability to do all of that stuff. And we were saying in our pre-show meeting this morning, we were all asking, why didn't Jacksonville send more pressure at him last week when they saw?
Why didn't they track cover?
Something.
What the hell? They doing?
So what do you expect? What's your game plan if you're the Cincinnati defense?
Well, if I was writing up a game plan, I'd have 2 game plans. I'd have an early game plan just to see how he looks. I would bring pressure to see how does he move in the pocket, how does he react. And, if you think back to the early days of football, drop back quarterbacks literally drop back with their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. They literally backpedaled out. Versus nowadays, you see a quarterback turn shoulders, drop back, use his back foot, because that's your most important foot, is your push-off foot on the back leg. When you hit your drop, you literally are slamming that foot into the ground. So I want to see, how's he dropping back? Is he looking like Joe Namath in the pocket, going straight back because he's kind of favoring that leg? I want to see a blitzer coming after him, and does he get out of the way quick enough? Is he trying to get out of the pocket? Because then you know, okay, he's going to be in the pocket. He's not going to be scrambling. He's not going to be as movement oriented as he is all the time.
And how much of that how much is taken away? If he's that, because look, he can kill you from the pocket. I mean, but how much, if he isn't able to do all the running around that he usually does, how much does that change the game?
That's huge.
You don't have to spy him.
That's huge because, listen, as a pass rusher, when you have a quarterback that can get up and out of the pocket, that really puts so much pressure on the secondary that you have to be a little bit more cautious in your rush. You can't really just go for an edge and try and lean and get to the quarterback. You have to be a little bit more, okay, there he is. Let me use more power. Let me make sure he doesn't bubble out and get outside on me. So that really affects your defensive play calling. It affects everything that you do, especially blitzing and the coverages that you're calling.
And you two-gap a little bit more. Now you're saying I can two-gap because now he's in the pocket. So now all I have to do is wait for him to throw the ball and put my hands up. And tip balls change games because the ball go up and your guys have a better chance to get to it. You know, when he can get out of the pocket, that means he can step up and step out. But if I can keep him in that well, make him pitch it for him well, he's not the tallest guy. He's not Josh Allen. He doesn't throw over the defense. He throws through lanes. The same lanes that he throws through is the same lanes that he escapes through. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking my tackles and I'm running time games so it looks distorted, so it looks like we're coming, but it's not real pressure. And I take that extra guy and I put him in coverage.
And the reality is, I mean, the Bengals have had his number anyway, right? I mean, this has been a bad matchup for Patrick Mahomes, even when he's been fully healthy.
Yeah, the Bengals have beaten him all 3 times they've played him since Burrow got there, and it is a matchup that Cincinnati, but they're also well aware of the danger Mahomes presents. They haven't blown them out, right? So I think what's interesting, when you talk to defensive coaches who have been eliminated by the Chiefs in the playoffs, the complaint is the same, like couldn't get him on the ground. And Jacksonville was struggling to do that before he got injured, which makes it even more baffling that they didn't try harder to do it after he got injured. But that's the thing. If they can get close to him, but they can't get him on the ground. This is the kind of injury that could make the difference there. That when you do get close to him, you can get him on the ground because he's not able to escape. That's what we're all watching closely.
Maybe one of the reasons the line has moved as it did. This game opened Kansas City a 2.5-point favorite. Right now, the Bengals are favored by 1.5. As we continue, did Micah Parsons throw shade at his own quarterback yesterday? We'll show you what he said. We'll figure out what he meant. One member of our crew thinks it means the beginning of the end of Dak's days.